He is the best in the business. He will be calling the Final Four for the first times as Jim Nantz is stepping down from that role. You heard him with the Badgers in the Big Ten championship game and that run on CBS. He was out in Brooklyn, unfortunately. Fortunate for me, I didn't get to hear him say all the cool things and all his great ways of saying fun names with fun plays for James Madison because I was at an event. But he is Ian Eagle. Ian, thank you so much.
Great to be with you. I feel a kinship with Wisconsin in many ways, not just because of the 10-year anniversary, but there are a lot of cool little side things that I've figured out through the years. First of all, Frank Kaminsky, I did research when I was preparing for the tournament that year when he was in the NBA. His dad played on a team called Marathon Oil.
Wow.
And I did the math on this. I did the game, my senior year, exhibition game, Syracuse, Marathon Oil, Frank Kaminsky Sr. playing for that team. So that's the first one.
You got the box score?
We can find it. It's exhibition. We have to find it.
Because all I hear from Frank Sr. is that he can shoot the crap out of it, and he was this stud. So I want to know against a real opponent what he did.
He was a man before his time. That's what I recall. Like in today's game, he can get it done. Back then, he was a complete anomaly. Second one, Travion Jackson. At the time, of course, I know he's Jim Jackson's son. It's an easy connection. I go on to work with Jim Jackson on NBA on TNT, become very close with him. So you feel another connection there. Sam Decker, who's he married to? He's
Olivia
married to
Harlan.
Kevin Harlan's daughter, Olivia Harlan. So there's a connection there. And then you, Ben, all the years later, we didn't know each other. We didn't communicate. We meet in basketball arenas, and we hit it off because of your love and your passion for hoops and for broadcasting, that combination. And you did say, first time, you said, dude, you're my ringtone, man. That's huge.
I mean, literally at work, as part of my job, I do some sales. I obviously do a radio show as part of this production that we're putting on. And I mean, the Ja Morant dunk. Oh, a jaw breaker. That is so do you have, I mean, just be honest with me, and it's okay if you don't want to be, do you have some of these planned and some of them off the cusp?
Yeah, I would say it's a combo. Obviously, if something strikes you in the moment, you go with it. I've learned to trust my instincts and just go for it on these calls. And then some are marinating in your brain. The crazy part about the Ja Morant play, when he broke into the league, I'm doing a Grizzlies-Nets game. And the obvious one to me was Ja Rules. That was obvious. And I think I used it right there and there. But as the years went on, I was thinking, wait, there's a variation here on his name that I can incorporate at some point. And I had that one in my mind. I'm not kidding. I sat on it for 4 years.
Oh,
and
that's
I just
so
thought,
good. That makes me so happy.
Wait for the right moment, dude. And I think it was one of the best in-game dunks I've ever seen. It changed the game. So it's one of those, when you look back on it, they were down to Minnesota. They were down either 11 or 10. He comes down the lane, he dunks it. That's the end of the third quarter. They come back and win the game. And I just think it was one of those plays that sticks with you. And if you have a call that matches the play, that's your goal as a play-by-play guy, is to enhance the experience and to complement it and not get in the way of it.
So the reason why I love that you said it was marinating for 4 years, because recently, and obviously we're in Wisconsin, a lot of Wisconsinites are going to hear this, when it comes to the Big Ten championship game, your best ones could not, one of them I think could have been pre-planned, but Damask, the drive, the bucket could not have been planned. Like there's no way that could have been planned. I was like, that is freaking brilliance.
Yeah, not planned. That's absolutely a feel your way through it moment. I think a lot of it also, I must say, I worked with Bill Raftery very early in my career. He never had anything written down in regards to his ad libs. Everything was in his head, and I was blown away. And obviously, we all grew up with "Get the puppy set, a nickel dimer." Yeah, all of them. Oh, send it in, Jerome. Like all of them, but they're coming from a real place. That's him. It's it's a variation of him. He's not that way off the air where he's just screaming things at the waiter or the waitress, but it's in him. And I think it taught me a really valuable lesson early in my career that there are times where you just got to feel your way through it and let it rip. If you believe it and you sell it enough, and obviously the wordplay is important, and it's got to capture the moment. If you're just doing it to try to come up with something that goes viral or something that's cute, that's not the agenda. The agenda is it has to actually add to the enjoyment of the broadcast.
So I do want to talk a little bit about the 2014 game at the Bradley Center, which no longer exists, as I know you've been to Fiserv Forum. How much do you actually you call a lot of games, but this
Yes.
game in particular was, I think, memorable not just because of our team being a part of it, but because of the atmosphere in which you called that game. How much do you remember from the round of 32 against Oregon at the Bradley Center?
Ben, it's funny. Jim Spinarkle and I did the tournament together for so many years. And for most of those years, we were not going to the second weekend. Our NCAA tournament experience was the opening weekend, the 4 games on the first day, whether it was Thursday or Friday, the 2 games on the second day, either Saturday or Sunday. So Jim and I, who are very close, we've done hundreds of broadcasts together, would attack it as a team, and we would view it that way. But the way that we looked at that opening weekend, that was everything to us. I eventually started doing the second weekend on radio. Jim eventually got the second weekend on TV. I followed him on TV. But during that time, 10 years ago, we were not doing the second weekend on TV. So, not to say that the games mattered that much more, but the games are seared in your memory, the ones that really stand out. So, there's one in particular with Jim and I that we always talk about, and it was Bruce Pearl, Milwaukee, Wisconsin against BC. That game was a battle, physical from the opening tip. And it struck us. We looked at one another during the game and said, this is another level. Like Bruce Pearl has these guys playing in a different dimension. And another game that strikes me in that setup was Wisconsin and Oregon, just at the high level of play, the fevered pitch within Bradley Center, and what was on the line. Because either team, look, you were a great team and absolutely deserved everything that you guys got that year. You earned it. You were resilient. It revealed itself basically every round. Oregon could play.
Oh, yeah.
And if they advanced, it wasn't going to be necessarily shockwaves around the country. You looked at them and said, this team is easily a second weekend team. As we know in the NCAA tournament, it's all about the draw. It's all about the matchups. And if memory serves, you guys didn't come out strong.
And down 12 at half. I was sitting there and I couldn't hear anything Bo Ryan was saying because I was like, this might be my career.
It took the air out of the building. I remember that because we went in thinking, hey, this is home court advantage. And in the NCAA tournament, that's not a guarantee. You know, you get a lot of swing votes in the NCAA tournament. You get people that show up that don't really have a rooting interest and they decide midway through, I like this team or I like that player. I'm going to root for that. Or they have a wager and now that becomes their rooting interest. We knew basically everybody that was in there that night, other than friends and family for Oregon, it was a Wisconsin crowd. But you didn't feel that once the game got tipped off. And then obviously it turns in the second half. And it really, to me, I remember it vividly, was a high level affair where you hit the final couple minutes, it could easily go the other way. And there were opportunities for Oregon to win that game. Your huge shot, Jackson's free throws, And before you know it, you guys are moving on to the Sweet 16, and you have a sigh of relief that your collegiate career is continuing.
And just for reference, because we're recording this, we got to make sure right as he is done there, we'll play his call from YouTube because it's on there. So I think we'll have to credit
You want me to
CBS
recreate
even
it?
from
I could
YouTube.
recreate it for a fee. Could easily recreate it for you.
Oh my goodness! Well, what kind of fee? What kind of fee you looking for? I got some extra Venmo money sitting in there. That's like funny money that doesn't exist.
Doesn't exist.
Honestly, Ian, just you telling that story about you being there, it's more than enough. Strofe, anything else we need from Ian? Because I don't want to keep him long, knowing his schedule. Yes, of course, and obviously, I do want to shout out as I've mentioned, right. You are the guy that I like. It could be a random basketball game that I don't care about. If you're on the broadcast, I'm interested. But now it's something I care about near and dear to my heart, and just for the passion that I have for this tournament and what it means for a lot of these kids. You are the voice of the Final Four this year. What does that mean to you, simply put?
It's beyond cool, and it gets into a different category of things that you dreamed of as a kid and really never thought was attainable, because it's one of those things that you can't imagine. I would think about it, but never did I imagine that this chance would come my way. And it wasn't one phone call or one moment. It was a process. It was years in the making. It was a lot of discussions. And ultimately, for CBS and Turner and the NCAA to trust me with this means the world. And truly, Ben, I'm not just saying this. Um, it means a lot, what you've said through the years. It really does. And the fact that when you listen to a broadcast on basketball, if I'm doing it, you might stop for a minute just to see what we're doing or see where we're
The
going.
volume goes
To
up
me,
ASAP, Ian.
it's the
ASAP does it go up.
the greatest compliment whatsoever. I really do care about the games that I do. I care that they're special in some way. And I just always think if someone played in the game, and this is living proof, truly. And I had this mentality in 1998 when I took over the NCAA tournament assignment and knew nothing about how to prepare, how to compartmentalize, how to attack it. I just showed up in Sacramento wide eyed and did 4 games that day. And remember going to my room being emotionally and physically spent. But I always thought to myself, if someone was going to put on the tape or the DVD or now watch the link all these years later, would I have done right by them? Would they enjoy what they were watching on the screen? And I still take that with me today, 26 years into doing this. I want to know that whoever participates in this event, when they pop it on one day and show their kids or show their grandkids, that they can feel proud. That's probably the most meaningful part of it, truly.
I mean, that's awesome. I can't say it any better. The cool part about this is even though I'll be able to show my now daughter or grandchildren the link, as you say, to the Oregon game and you calling the shot where I broke the 3-point record at Wisconsin to take the lead. Jim Nance also had an opportunity to call the Final Four game. So I feel pretty proud that I got both of you in the repertoire to show the grandkids one day. So thank you, Ian, for joining. And as you know, I'll be texting you when I hear something I love.
It's always welcome, and I always get back. You know that.
Yes,
Sometimes
you're the
quickly.
best.
We're like, dude, are you not calling the game?
No, because like I know that you appreciate when you hit a good
I
one.
do.
You know I'm gonna get back to you.
Dude, you know I do.
Even though it was Illinois, the Damask, the drive, the bucket, and I had they've entered the danger zone, and I was like, God, that's good, but we're losing.
I know. I'm starting to feel that there are people that are angry when their team's losing, but at the very least respect creativity and exuberance. So I'm winning people over, hopefully, on that level.
Well, you have a great rest of the night and a wonderful
man.
NCAA tournament. Thank you,
All
Ian.
right. Good luck with the project. It sounds like it's going to be a really good one.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
All right. Is this a Russian website? How